Alright, so I'm doing a challenge trying to platinum every single game inside of the Ubisoft Plus game catalog on PlayStation. And if I can't do it before we hit 690,000 subscribers on YouTube, then I have to tattoo the platinum logo somewhere on my body. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the mess. Today, I sadly platinumed Assassin's Creed 3. I've seen a couple comments here and there from people warning me about this game, but on a quick glance to the guide, it honestly doesn't look too bad. I mean, it's a bit long for an Assassin's Creed Platinum, but aside from that, there isn't any missables, and that's a sign that the game isn't going to be hard to beat. However, Assassin's Creed 3 Remastered is a bit different from the original game, in the fact that it looks better, but somehow plays worse, is less fun, has insane amounts of bugs, issues, and the overall game was just on a downward slope from the very beginning. Around every corner when I thought the game and Platinum Trophy grind couldn't get any worse, it somehow found a way to get worse. It's actually mind-bending, and I'm still awestruck even after pouring over 50 hours into it this week, that somehow this game sucked as much as it did. For reference, this is worse than the Avatar game, and that's saying something. Okay, now that I've said my two piece about how much this game sucks, I'll try not to complain the rest of the video. Assassin's Creed 3 has 55 trophies including the Platinum. The first stage is to beat the story and go for 100% sync in every single mission on the way. The game's story follows Desmond once more because he is the OG man behind the scenes that we all love and hate so much. But Assassin's Creed 3 itself is centered in America this time, within the George Washington era. So long ago they didn't even have fast 5G reliable internet. Lame. That's what I'm saying. But the entire game, you essentially just chase after evil Templar people like usual, and you also get a before Assassin storyline with some Native American guy. And it's super boring, so that's great. Anyways, the first trophy of the day is gotten just after we do parkour in the Animus training program to get us back up to speed and to know already how ass this game's parkour is. Thanks Ubisoft for making me suffer once more. I hate you. I would then not get any more trophies for quite some time because story trophies only pop after sequence completions, and that is not fast at all. But the main story begins with us playing as Haytham, who was a big part of the game's story at the end more so, but you'll see what I mean later on. We first engage in a fist fight on a boat with some peasants, just beating the balls off of them to remind them that social classes still exist. We then have to do more ship activities and sailing because we are on the way to the new world, New York City, a wondrous place. Once getting to America, however, the rest of the activities we do as Haytham for now just consisted of us messing with the British people, a timeless tradition, and I would end up getting a combat trophy while us messing around for funsies from using a human shield 5 times. This makes it so we don't get shot, by the way, you know, if you don't get what human shield means, and there's the trophy. And right here in the same area, my main objective was to assassinate a man named Silas. With a name like that, you can be sure he's a villain, but either way, I killed the guy and that concluded sequence 2, so I got a trophy pop from finishing both sequence 1 and 2. Sequence 3 then began, and it also concluded with just another assassinate man objective, but this time it was even easier since I got to cosplay as a British person and also shoot him. Don't want to get my hands any more dirty, you know what I'm saying? However, this time I got a trophy just from sequence 3 and not 2 sequences at once, which is pretty nice. What's not nice though is that this was the last time and last sequence we ever get to play as Haytham in. Because for some unknown retarded reason, the Ubisoft developers who made this heinous game decided to force us to go play as a Native American child for the rest of the game. Now if you've been watching me for a while, you know that I absolutely hate when games force tribal shit down your throat. It's a lot like that time when I tried to eat 4 brownies at once and almost choked to death. True story. Anyways, the 4th sequence literally consisted of us just hunting and gathering. I mean, at least it's realistic. And here is that trophy pop once I finished it. After all that hunting though, I would also end up getting invited to join a club in the game. Seeing this now is almost peaceful because my poor past self had no idea just how awful and agonizing completing all these challenges would be later on. But for now, I just got a trophy from being invited to one of them. Eventually, we would end up fast forwarding to our adulthood playing as the native boy. His name is Connor, by the way, and we became an assassin with the help of this other old assassin named Achilles. And just for my last little lore drop here, Haytham, who was the character we played as originally, is also Connor's dad, which is why he is an assassin and why we had to play as him growing up. Okay, I'm done with this game's lore, I don't care anymore. So, sequence 5 had us essentially just take Connor into the real world because he is a native boy and has never actually seen people outside of his tribe, let alone mass city infrastructure. But while here in some city, I can't remember if it was Boston or New York, it really doesn't matter, we got hunted almost immediately, and I don't want to say it was a race thing, but it was definitely a race thing. We also did meet up with Samuel Adams in addition, yes, the guy from the beer company. The rest of this sequence then had us get given our ship and crew from Achilles and do our first naval mission of the game. A lot of people hate the naval combat in Assassin's Creed 3 and even say it's the worst part, but honestly I kind of liked it, and mostly because I could actually for the most part do it without trouble. Anyways, that was it for sequence 5. Here's the trophy. We then got sent to real life and saw Desmond totally destroy Mr. Cross here with a relic. Seems like that might not be the smartest weapon of choice, but hey, it was a trophy, I can't complain. Sequence 6 then had us go full on assassin finally, and we can tell this because we are now dressed up like one, which means it's time to go ham. And by ham, I mean we just reenacted the Boston Tea Party. You know that one history lesson we all learned in like 5th grade history? Yeah, we just kind of threw tea into the harbor. Low-key, not as menacing as they made it sound, and it was actually kind of sad. But hey, it was a trophy, so it doesn't matter. Sequence 7 then took place all on the frontier. The frontier is like essentially just the most annoying place in the entire game, mostly because there is little to no fast travel points, and it's just full of uneasy terrain and animals that want to kill you, making this already buggy game even more challenging to maneuver and do objectives. It also ended with a completely bullshit optional objective where you couldn't get hit by any bullets while crossing an active battlefield. Now for the most part you can tell when they shoot, but at the final one it's just a total guess and prayer to the Lord, and I died a lot here. I also spent a long time googling to see if I was just being an idiot or if this game is BS, and I came to the conclusion that it's complete luck, and this one time I ran out in the open I didn't get domed by a musket ball, so GG. This sequence then ended with us just assassinating some dude from a tree, a household classic, and there's the trophy. Sequence 8 was then relatively quick compared to the other ones, but the second part of it was kind of AIDS and had us in prison. The AIDS and things that happen in prison might be a coincidence, but it seems too good to be true. Anyways, the hard part here was just trying not to be seen when running around an empty prison with 4 guards looking at you. However, I would find out that you can just run to the door and the mission ends, so I hate my life basically. You do end up getting caught anyways though. Thankfully, right as we started to get executed, Achilles was somehow here and saved us. We also had to go to a meeting with important people, but who cares? Here's the sequence's trophy. There was then another Desmond section, except this time we didn't really kill anyone per se, but rather just ran around a third world country's subway system, and it was kind of annoying. Overall though, it didn't take too long, and here's that trophy gotten after it's finished. The next sequence then had us finally meet up with Haytham, our long lost father who never came back. But it wasn't a happy reunion with Dad, because his version of parenting is basically just yelling at us and making fun of our subpar assassin skills. It's not my fault the guy that taught us how to be an assassin was a crippled old man, okay? But this sequence had some mumbo jumbo go on in the beginning until ultimately we ended up on the high seas. And I actually like these main story naval missions way more than the ordinary missions because there was always something unique about them. Sure, it was cancer occasionally, but that at least excites the life up a bit regardless if you survive. Anyways, there's a sequence trophy. We were then sent back to the frontier because the British were trying to advance, so I, being the highly skilled assassin I am, just manned a cannon. I feel like any redneck militiaman could have done this, not gonna lie. But while I was here, I did get a trophy for taking out 15 guards with a single cannon shot. And the sequence then just had a little bit more fighting with the Brits before its conclusion with yet again another sequence trophy right here. It was then nearing the end of the game, and we got one more big section with Desmond. This time we had to save his dad actually from the Abstergo enemies. I guess everybody has daddy issues in this game, but the main takeaway from this mission is that we got the apple and then just committed mass murder. Like, this might be a new PR, and we also got a trophy. There was then only a few more sections to the main story with Connor, and it mostly had us just do giant water battles, but it ended with us battling Haytham since he's actually evil. Now that's crazy. This fight also resembled what I feel like after 8 beers. Not great. We did end up assassinating him though, and also got a haircut, the real W for the day. And there is the Sequence 11 main story trophy. Sequence 12 then was super fast and just had Connor get the apple. Love that. And there's the trophy from it. There was one final section though with Desmond, but it just had us wrap up the story and also triggered credits after some lore cutscenes with a woman. Nice. And there is the final main story trophy. So the rest of this trophy list is pretty much just gotten from us getting 100% sync in the game, which means we have to essentially complete every single task, collect everything, and also die inside. And I mean that literally because this stage took me around 20 to 30 hours to complete and was horrible the entire time, while at the same time getting worse every second. I absolutely hated every moment of my time here, and not even getting a bit intoxicated while playing could help. This was completely awful in every way. So let's just recap my days of suffering in a few minutes of summary, shall we? I'm totally not losing it. First trophy I got was from doing the epilogue missions for this game. It only took me 8 minutes after the last trophy I got, and I honestly can't remember at all what happened here, but there's the trophy, so who cares? Next trophy I got was called Perfectionist. You can probably guess what it's for, but if you're an idiot, it's from just getting 100% sync on the main story missions alone. This does not include anything else in the game in terms of the open world, so that's good, I guess. But really, this trophy is useless since you need to get 100% of everything. However, I only missed a few objectives here and there, thankfully, but it still took me another hour and a half to get because replaying missions for objectives objectives in this game does not let you carry over ones you've already done, meaning if you only missed one on a mission, you need to go and get that, and then in addition also do all the others within the mission's entirety. Basically, it's just aids, but here's the trophy. I then began some of the homestead missions and trophies because this is a whole different aspect to Assassin's Creed than pretty much any other one has. The homestead is an area of the game separated from everything else, and you have to fill it up with like 10 people or something like that all have different jobs. There's also numerous trophies tied to this, and some of them are very, very annoying and also super RNG, which is just awesome. But first I got a trophy from recruiting an artisan to the homestead, the beginning of the end. Next trophy gotten was actually in relation to nothing in particular, but just for reaching quote-unquote 50% completion of the full sync in the game. This does not really mean we are halfway done though, because the objectives that are in the latter half are so much harder and longer. Usually that's a good thing, but not today. As I said earlier, I began doing the homestead missions because why not? And I ended up actually recruiting every person into the homestead about an hour or two after beginning this grind, and I got the A complete set trophy right here from that. And now that I have everyone, I can begin the real final trophy that is needed from all of these idiots in my home. It's called an extraordinary man. It's gotten from witnessing every single action that these people can do. Most have around 3 to 4, and you have to basically just watch them do everyday jobs inside of their occupation. Whether it's farming, mining, making clothes, making armor, looking at plants for 25 minutes straight. It was awful, and it took me 3 hours of waiting around and fast traveling desperately before I finally managed to get every single action that there was. Brain rot is usually described in terms of memes, but this was brain rot. I have nothing left up there besides goo at this point. I'd actually like to see a CAT scan. That would be insane. But that's basically all the hard trophies for the homestead done. There is more later on, but they're sort of general and not really in relation to any certain people. So the next trophy I got was actually just totally random and from me finding almanac pages and making a full set of them, which unlocks an invention to build later on. But for now, it's just a trophy. I then spent an hour straight doing naval missions and trying to get most of them to 100% sync. Now, as I said earlier, I like this because I was good at them, but not perfect. And I managed to get every single mission 100% except the last one. We don't talk about that. I'm limited by the technology of my time, okay? Anyways, there's the trophy from finishing them all to begin with. Speaking of finishing everything, I then decided it was time to just go do all the challenges in this game. There is 4 different clubs total. The Brawlers, Frontiersmen, Hunters, and Thieves. Each has 3 tiers to the challenge list within them, meaning you have to do around 15 challenges for each club's challenge set. And these challenges are not simple little get 5 kills over and over. Oh no, it's much more like find every viewpoint, uncover the entire map, hunt every single animal, own every single weapon in the game, get a kill with every weapon, the list goes on. It is absolutely horrible and one of the hardest trophies I've ever had to do in the entirety of the Ubisoft challenge that I've been doing for months. Overall though, I spent around 10 or so hours straight just going for these. And you don't even get a trophy for completing them all, it's just needed for the 100% completion of the game. If that isn't the biggest punch in the face, I don't know what is. Actually, having your girlfriend cheat on you for 2 months is probably worse. And that's also happened to me, so what the But anyways, let's go through the trophies I got during this process of my mind unraveling. First was for witnessing a predator animal get a kill. Not sure how I did that, but it happened apparently, and here's the trophy. About 2 hours after that, I then managed to complete the Frontiersman challenge list first because that was the first one I went after, and also arguably the easiest because it just has a lot of exploring in it. So yeah, there's that trophy, and the only one got it from actually completing a challenge list. Next trophy I did was from completely liberating all districts in either Boston or New York. So basically you need to just take over all of the forts in the game, and then do a ton of liberation contracts to reveal the Templar leader there, kill him, and the trophy is yours. I then finally figured out how this game's crafting system works. For the longest time, I thought it was broken or something because I had no clue how to get materials actually in my inventory from the homestead people, but eventually I opened up my eyes and actually looked at my screen and I realized I'm just a idiot, and the crafting system is actually pretty good. So with that being said, I made my first invention of the game, which is those things gotten from collecting almanacs for a trophy. My next 2 trophies were then both gotten while I was directly going for kills within the brawler challenges. It just so happened that these were also trophies. First was from getting 5 rope dart kills predator style, and no, Chris Hansen and Dr. Disrespect were not involved. The predator kill is from hitting an enemy with a rope dart and then letting gravity do the ultimate work, so there's that trophy. I then got one from disarming and killing 10 Jaeger enemies. These enemies are the highest tier of enemy in the game. You cannot attack them at all unless you have bare fist and disarm them by taking their sword. You then just kill them with it pretty easily, and after that is done 10 times, you will get this trophy also. I then strapped in for a 9-hour straight playing session without getting up to do anything except for piss. I spent all this time, however, just grinding out the 100% sync objectives and collecting everything. You get it by now, but I only got 7 trophies during this time. That is less than 1 trophy an hour, and I hate my life. First was called Bring Down the House. It's gotten from finishing finishing a naval mission acquired from doing the peg leg trinket collectibles, which aren't bad thankfully. I then got another peg leg trinket naval mission trophy after, once I finished yet again another one of those special naval missions. A few hours later I finally started upgrading the ship and got a trophy after buying an upgrade for it for the first time, and another after getting an assassin in the game to assassin rank. Yes, Assassin's Creed 3 has those dumb assassin leveling things that Ubisoft used to love to do. I don't know why, it's super dumb and also stupid, but here's the trophy. If you don't know what I'm referring to, then that's a good thing. And about 20 minutes after that, I finally finished all of the privateer contracts. These are literally just naval missions like the main story, except much easier and usually much quicker. So there's that trophy. I then did a very annoying trophy from winning at every minigame inside of the homestead. Most of these are fairly easy, except for this one right here. It's some weird board game where you can take any enemy's piece on the board once you have 3 in a row, and the game ends when someone has 2 pieces left or can't move. But what makes this hard is that the developers at Ubisoft made every single opponent you face just an absolute virgin god tier skill level, meaning you pretty much can't win. And I spent probably 3 hours of my game's playtime trying to win at this game throughout various stages of the platinum, because I played it here and there throughout it trying to finish it. And by the time I finally got it though, I was low-key good at the game, so I'm kind of proud of myself. Yet I'm also scared that I got my ass whooped by an AI that came out in 2012. We are all doomed, to be honest. And the final trophy I got during this massive 9-hour play session was just from finally deploying convoys to every city. Not gonna lie, I didn't know you had to make wagons to be able to do this, which is why it took me so long to get it. But hey, it's actually a pretty easy trophy to be honest. Okay, so at this point I've put in the hours and I only had a few more main game trophies left. Yes, I said main game. That's because since this is the remastered version of Assassin's Creed 3, side note, you could have fooled me, they made the King Washington DLC a part of the game's main trophy list. So they're basically just nailing our coffin shut even more once it's already been buried. Ubisoft, bro, I swear to God. Before the DLC trophies though, I got my next trophy just from getting a double assassination with a musket. Kind of aids because of this game's controls, but it is what it is. I then robbed a convoy without killing anyone, and this is easily done if you just use fists and knock out everybody, which means they technically don't die and you can then loot it and get the trophy. I then sold some of my leftover pelts to every single store in the game for another trophy, and finally I got a 100% sync in the game after I bought the last upgrade on my ship, getting me to 100% completion and the completionist trophy. Lord have mercy, it feels like I just busted a nut. Sadly, it's now time to do the DLC trophies, which suck. This whole game sucks. I hate it so much. But the DLC trophies are structured the exact same for each episode of the DLC. There is 3 episodes by the way, and excluding the first trophy gotten right here from just beginning the DLC, there is basically 9 trophies with 3 in each episode that are the same. 1 from doing a special abilities kill count, 1 from finishing the episode after taking out an enemy, and 1 from getting 100% sync in the episode's area. So yeah, I'm not gonna go through and talk about this DLC because it was horrible and I already wanted to die after doing all of that main game that I didn't even pay attention at all to the DLC. So here's that final trophy pop with the platinum right after. The Assassin's Creed 3 platinum trophy experience. One of the most draining I have ever done, and also some of the least amounts of fun I've had in ages. Over 50 hours of playtime, and I probably enjoyed about 3 hours total, if even that. Nothing about this game I liked at all. It's the worst Assassin's Creed game I've ever played, and the most tedious grind out of any Assassin's Creed Platinum. I would even go to say that Valhalla wasn't as bad, or at least it didn't feel as bad as this one did. Rating the game out of 10, I'm gonna give it a -35, and I'll see you all soon with more torture. This challenge is nearing its conclusion, meaning the games left basically are all gonna make me want to kill myself.